In other news now, classes remain suspended at all 9 Tshwane University of Technology campuses. This follows violent student protests centered around the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, that's NSFAS, the lack of accommodation as well as meals. Well, joining us in the studio now to discuss the latest and what plans are there to resume classes is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Stanley Mukola. Prof, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess there's very little good currently happening around TUT. How are you currently as management feeling about the situation?
We are all concerned, but then because at the moment we are losing a lot of time for our students to continue with their classes. If I can take you back, this started on the 4th of February when we actually experienced a similar sporadic protest at Mbombela campus and Emalahleni. That spilled over to Pretoria. Apparently, during that time, Soshanguve and Polokwane were still going on very, very well. But we have been battling, talking to students at Pretoria to say, but what is the main problem? Because what we are claiming is not what TUT can do. It's a policy thing, circular number 6 from NSFAS, which says if a student is getting NSFAS for classes and also for transport, you may not get any meal allowance when you stay at home. But if you are able to get a lease with a private provider and you bring it to the university, we'll be able to pay you that meal allowance. The argument is if you stay at home, you can't get meal allowance. But they say, no, regardless, we want to get the meal allowance. Okay, accommodation, yes.
Just to clarify, in terms of, I'm going to use this word generally.
Yes.
In terms of the existing rules around NSFAS,
yes.
If a student comes to class from home, they don't get a meal allowance.
They are not allowed because...
But the students are demanding a meal allowance anyway.
Regardless of whether they stay at home, yes.
Why is it that they're not understanding that the meal allowance is for those students who are deserving, who are staying at home?
You know that the explanation we do actually give them. What we did also on last week Sunday, we even called the DDG from DHEAD, Dr. Diane Parker, to say maybe come and help us explain this. And she came and she explained to them exactly what I'm saying now.
Is it possible, in your view, in your experience, Prof, that there could be something else that's informing or driving the students to carry on? Because the rules are very clear, they've been explained.
But then you can't roll it off completely, because I cannot understand if we try to explain a logical thing that people cannot understand and still say, look, we hear you, but we still want to say, please provide the meal allowance. We say you can't change the policy. We are not government. We are just a university that dependent on government subsidy. So you can't force us to do things that we are not able to do.
Okay, the meal allowance is one issue, but we've heard about reports of accommodation.
Yes,
what is the problem there?
But then we command about 65,000 students at TUT, residents. Of those, 21,000, which is about 30%, are within residencies, either our own residencies or lease or accredited. We agree it's not enough. We want to actually make sure that about 50% of those can be in the hostel. But this is an ongoing exercise. We are regularly identifying buildings that we are trying to accredit. But students want something here and there, which is not practical, because when you identify a building, you must go in and make sure that now it complies with the norms and standards.
In terms of safety regulations,
all things,
health
security,
and occupational
everything.
hazard stuff.
So it's not something that you can do today and say tomorrow you are done. It's not possible. Okay. So we're trying to say, look, understand, because they are part of this process. When we go to identify these buildings, they are part of the team.
So is TUT at this moment, are you as management looking actively for more buildings?
We are even today, but then we'll be approving quite a number of them to assist.
And then do you communicate to the student that now we found more accommodation?
Regularly. Even yesterday we met with them almost 3 hours, explaining them what will be happening today, because they were part of the identification of this building, to say what we have identified, we are going to assess as EMC whether it complies with the standards, and then we'll be able to approve or not approve.
There's another issue that I've picked up in other reports that relates to the death of a student last year. That's still somehow coming up as an issue, that student who was shot outside one of your campuses when security and police were on the ground. Some of the students still feel that was not properly done. Is that still the case?
It's still the case then, because now the same police person was identified as the person who killed the student, still actually in court. Not long ago, they were...
So there is a court case that's underway, and the students know that.
They know that.
So what are they telling you? What is the issue around that death that is still bothering them?
For them, they want to see that now the person is charged. And we don't have control over that. No, the justice system is actually unfolding, and we hope justice will prevail. But you cannot hold this to a university because now we are not actually the justice people. We are just there to educate our students to get a better life.
You seem to be very frustrated, Prof.
Very much so, Dan. Very much so.
So what do you think can be done? Don't you think you need help now? Because what I'm picking up from your answers is on the meals one, there are rules which have been clarified, but students are still insisting that even if they stay at home, they want the meal.
Exactly.
The second one is no accommodation. You are doing something, you're trying to identify and acting properly to make sure that those buildings that you find are safe.
Exactly.
There's impatience. They want it here and now. And thirdly, there's a court case of the policeman accused of shooting dead the student. There's a legal process underway, but they want the justice to be done now. There's a lot of impatience. So don't you think you should get some help to assist you, to mediate or something, because the academic year is moving on.
Then we are
very soon going to be Easter.
Unfortunately, time is not waiting for us. And my heart is for those students actually want to go to class who are not able to go. Indeed, we need help, but then what we are trying to do now is even to ask parents, because normally we actually meet with the parents and explain them our situation. And we say to the parents, please try and assist by talking to the young people when they are at home now to say, look, the university is trying everything to come to your help. But please comply and go to class because time is not waiting for you. It would be very much unfortunate, but then if we have to lose the academic year, because that's where we are heading towards now. And we have got students who are getting bursaries from government. If they fail once, the government will not pay for the next year. So my heart is with all those students. Actually, the majority of them are NSFAS holders, bursary holders. So we want them to really go to class, attend all lectures, write all the tests so that now they can go to exams. We are even now considering shifting the academic year, because we cannot go to the exams in May when we know we have lost almost 3 weeks. We have to really come with a plan to say, how are we going to recover the lost time? And when are we going to go to exams? It will force us, by the way, even to go into June when we have to actually open in July. So it's unfortunate that now time is not waiting for us. And
in the meantime, you said you are talking to the student leadership all the time, clarifying everything.
Regularly. We know we have got minutes that we engage them regularly to say, look, this is the position. This thing of meal allowance. They know. The minutes dictate that now. We agree that TUT have no control over this secret number 6. Unfortunately.
Thank you very much for your time. One can pick up your frustration here. We wish you well. Hopefully, whoever can come in and help you, maybe from the Ministry of Higher Education, Naledi Pando and them, they can come in and help you. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Stanley Mukola, talking to us about the ongoing suspension of classes at all the campuses of the Tshwane University of Technology.